where people get it wrong is confusing being authentic with being unfiltered. Being unfiltered, there's no wisdom in that, right? You have to be intentional so you can be effective and impactful. And your message will get lost if you're unfiltered.
This is the Pass the Pitch podcast with Anna Frazzetto. Each episode, we sit down with bold thinkers and industry trailblazers to uncover the strategies, stories, and sparks of inspiration that drive growth and transformation. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome to Pass the Pitch podcast. I'm happy to have Winne Njaaga Smith from ABT Companies today. We actually met a couple of years ago at TechServe conference, and I have to say, Winne, I admire what you stand for and your passion in life. I was actually reading the About section on LinkedIn, and you talk about being the CEO and co-founder of ABT, a woman-owned IT solutions-based firm. But you also talk about that you're committed to servant leadership and building a thriving organizational culture. You are a strong advocate for the philosophy of putting people first, believing that results naturally flow when teams are supported and empowered. So yet a simple but very deep and meaningful message there. So welcome, Winne, to the podcast.
Thank you, Anna. Glad to be here.
Great. So let's start, since we were talking a little bit about leadership, let's start with leadership lessons. And a question that I typically like to ask is about what's the most unexpected leadership lesson you've learned, and how has it shaped the way you guide your teams or organization today?
Yes. I would have to say that it would be that leadership is not glamorous. And it sounds so obvious, right? Especially with people living in that role. But growing up, my parents, my mentors always encouraged me to be in leadership, and I wanted to be in leadership. The perceived control and power and influence, it's appealing, right? Until you get into it. And in order to be an effective leader, you have to sacrifice. You have to put others first. You have to be transparent, own up to when you make mistakes. You realize how much of an ego you have when you're in leadership, when you have to do that. And so it takes a lot of humility as well, again, to be an effective leader. And so just, being there for our team through all the ups and downs, and I'm sorry, I'm getting a call. And learning that I'm never going to arrive. Leadership is messy. It's completely messy. And learning to accept that and willing to grow and learn from all your mistakes is what I've learned and accepted.
Right. Winne, I think you said a couple of things that I would love to, just kind of make sure that they're golden nuggets and for the audience to walk away with. The fact of that it's messy, being transparent and owning up to a mistake. I think that is such a valuable lesson. Often there's a level in leadership, especially when people are new to leadership, where they get embarrassed if they've done something wrong and therefore feel like it's better to sweep it under the rug and not own up to it. But I think you bring up such a valid point and so important for not only you as a leader to be successful, but then it also establishes credibility with your teams.
It absolutely does. Because people can see right through that, right? Especially when they've been around long enough, the truth comes to life. And also to that, being a servant leader, you can't please everybody. And I learned that the hard way. You have to put people first, your clients first, in hopes that you'll get that return eventually. But you have to make tough decisions, and not everybody's going to like that. And you can't please everyone. So that goes along with that as well.
Right. Making the tough decisions, that is difficult. And often, like, leadership is lonely, right?
Yeah.
You think about it when you're making maybe not the popular decision, and you're not trying to be liked by everyone, and you're trying to stand true to what the company's mission is. It often puts you in a tough spot.
It does. Leadership is isolating.
I know it definitely is isolating.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about, taking a look at like adaptability in business, right? This is
Mhm.
part of the challenge that leadership has, but what's one time that you or your team had to pivot quickly? And what made that shift successful or maybe not successful? So what's your advice for thriving in unpredictable times. And God help us, we are in unpredictable times right now when you take a look at the staffing industry.
Absolutely. And to that, I would say it's not one time, but it's the same event several times, specifically this year that we've had to pivot. So our industry has a history of having high turnover. And so the last 3 years, we've been fortunate to not have a lot of turnover. Of course, there's some natural attrition, but overall, we've been fortunate enough not to have high attrition. This year, because of the state of our climate, of our industry, it's just unfortunate. We've seen a lot of people come and go. But our team, the way they've adapted, I've been so encouraged. They have not skipped a beat. They come together, they rally, they encourage each other, and it's brought us closer together. So I'm very proud of them. So I think the biggest advice for unpredictable times is to have the right people on board, people you trust, people that are part of your cult, that live up to your culture and core values. And to that, having clear values, a clear culture that's consistent, and then not leading by fear because your team can sense the fear. But when you're confident, when you own up and you can recognize the troubles and the challenges, but not succumb to the fear, they respond well to that. And I've learned to accept that challenges are a part of business, they're part of life. So we're going to process them, we're going to adapt and change and pivot where it's needed, and we're going to learn and grow from it and get better. So you just have to learn to embrace all the challenges that come your way.
Right, and you're really talking about how to be, flexible and somewhat fluid as things are changing. As you were talking about the fear component, you actually reminded me of a story where someone was telling me, "No, I'm not a nervous flyer." We were talking about flying. He says basically the secret is I take a look at the flight attendants. And if there's a lot of turbulence and there's a lot of, commotion or whatever, I watch them in action. And if they're cool, calm, and collected, I'm going to be cool, calm, and collected.
Oof.
But it, right. But if I start seeing the flight attendants are like, oh my God, what's happening?
Then you
You
know
know,
something's wrong. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great example.
Right, it's so applicable to, leadership. You might be concerned, you might be worried about, the ebbs and flows of watching the revenue line, but if you conduct yourself always with that confidence that you're gonna ride the wave, you'll be fine.
Absolutely. Confidence and clear directions. These are the challenges. This is how we're going to pivot and how we're going to course correct and then get everybody on board.
Right, and also I think you said something, that's interesting, and I think it's so true as far as what's happening across the board, across different staffing companies, a turnover, right? So I think the unique thing with apt companies is that you have not experienced high turnover year over year, and you're just starting to experience it now. But I do think that most companies are experiencing it year over year, and especially when you have, a group of either salespeople or recruiters that might be new to the workforce, and therefore what they're seeing now makes them nervous, and therefore they want more stability.
That's been a big word this year, stability. Yeah, it's hard to handle the ups and downs of this business, but the ones that do hold on and ride that wave, they see the reward at the end. But yeah, I don't blame them. I don't fault them. It's not for everybody, but yeah, stability has been the theme.
So Winnie, let's take the conversation a little bit different direction here, talking a little bit about personal branding and authenticity. So, how do you balance staying authentic while building your personal or organizational brand? And a lot of times it's synonymous. The CEO and apt companies, it becomes like meshed into one word. It's the same brand. What's one thing you think people get wrong about this?
One thing that people get wrong. So to me, authenticity is making sure that you're clear on your values and your non-negotiables and making them guide you on how you show up. I think where people get it wrong is confusing being authentic with being unfiltered. Being unfiltered, there's no wisdom in that, right? You have to be intentional so you can be effective and impactful. And your message will get lost if you're unfiltered. And I think sometimes, especially this generation, I mean, I love how they want to embrace authenticity, but with that You have to be filtered. And I think that's where people get it wrong.
And honestly, that's a great point because I've had a few of these conversations and nobody's used that word. So I do think that that's another golden nugget here, being unfiltered, especially in this day and age where social media is so prevalent.
Yeah,
If anything, I think you have to be a little bit even more measured in what gets out there.
absolutely. Everybody's watching. There's it's just you're more accessible and people can twist what you say. So you have to be intentional, but you can be intentional and authentic at the same time.
Right. Great point. So, okay, what's your secret sauce for creating unforgettable customer experiences? Can you share a time when going above and beyond made all the difference?
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, our core values guide us and how we show up for our clients. And so one of our core values is here to partner, here to serve. And our team really embraces that. One example was when we got to a challenge for a customer and we got to the solution and we realized we were not the right partner for them. So we had to humbly say, we are not the right partner. We'll help you find the right partner. We got nothing in return. We connected them. It was successful and they were appreciative that we were honest and that we were able to help them bridge that gap so they didn't have to go out back in the market to find that right partner because we were very aware of what they needed. And so they found value in that. And for other projects, they called us and we were able to deliver. Another story that really stuck with me, I believe it was like last year. So my business partner, Ben, he was at a networking event or a client event, I say, and he met a VP at that client. We've never worked with her part of the org, and, after that encounter, we had an exclusive partnership. We've done a lot of deals together, and I got the pleasure of meeting her last year, and I just asked her, I said, "Why us? Why did you choose us as a partner, especially exclusively?" And she said, "Ben, when I initially talked to him, he was he introduced himself, and he was just interested in us and our needs, getting to know us and our needs. And he asked when he realized that we are a sales organization as well, he asked, "Who can I introduce you to? How can I help you? Who can I introduce you so you can grow your part of the business?" And that stuck with her because he wasn't gonna get anything in return for that. And it was, again, authentic, and it stuck with her, and she said, "You know what? I trust you. I wanna partner with you because you're gonna have my best interest in mind, even when it doesn't suit you." And so I'll never forget that.
Oh my goodness, Winnie, I'll tell you, you're giving me goosebumps because you hit on so many incredible messages there. One, I love the fact that you spoke to the client and asked her why us, and that's a question that a lot of times individual salespeople don't ask their client, like, "Why are you buying from me?" You learn so much, and that's so valuable to do that. The second is the fact of the first example that you gave, acknowledging when you can't deliver on a certain service, and if anything, that gets multiplied tenfold because what happens is the client totally appreciates the fact that you were so honest with them, and they'll remember you for the future.
Mhm.
So I love that. And lastly, the story that you just shared about Ben. Um, a common thing that I often talk about is be curious about that prospect, that client, that future client, right? Be curious that you understand what their needs are, what their wants are, what their pain points are, and therefore that's going to carry you a long way. So great examples.
Awesome.
All right, so Winnie, we're gonna have a little bit of fun now, just to kind of spice things up a little bit. I'm going to ask you some fun rapid fire, but it doesn't have to be rapid fire. You can explain, but some kind of interesting questions here so that the viewers can get to understand you a little bit better. What's one small habit or routine that keeps you grounded during a chaotic work week?
That's hard, and it's hard because it's hard to limit it to one.
Oh, good.
So I'll give you all 3. So
Okay.
prayer, journaling, and working out.
Oh, okay. I I agree on all three counts because that just kind of keeps you grounded on a day-to-day basis. So,
Yes.
love the journaling. Also, I think that's so important. So, if you could teleport to one place for a quick brainstorming session, where would it be?
Oh, that's easy. The beach, but it has to be in the fall because when it's too hot, I can't think.
Okay, so any beach in particular?
Oh, well, for, not Destin, 30A is just Alice Beach area. It's 4 hours away from me, so very convenient.
Oh, that's great. Okay, I
Yeah.
love that, the beach. I'm also a beach person, so love that. Okay. If you had to name your personal business anthem, what would it be?
The song Unstoppable
Oh, excellent. Okay, great,
gets me going every time.
great. What's the quirkiest productivity hack you swear by?
It's not quirky anymore. I feel like it's normal. ChatGPT. The best assistant ever. Yes. It's great.
Okay. Okay, so do you use it, just to ask questions or does it kinda help like, do you use it as a brainstorming tool?
All the above. So Google, of course, used to be our go-to, right? Especially with
Right.
research. But ChatGPT is amazing. It's just a one-stop shop. And then the deep research gives you even more information. So before I'm going to a client meeting, especially if it's a new client or prospective client, I want to know as much as possible. So I just enter everything I want to know about the client in ChatGPT and it gives it to me in one setting.
That's fantastic. Okay,
Yeah.
great. ChatGPT. All right, describe your leadership style in 3 emojis and explain them.
That is hard. Smiley emoji because I
Okay.
smile a lot.
All right.
The caveat there is the serious emoji because people say when I'm focused, they say the focused Winnie, right? So I'm serious and I have the serious face because I'm getting stuff done and I mean business.
Okay.
So it's twofold. And then I would do the praise or the raised hands emoji because I love
Okay.
praising my team. I love recognizing them, empowering them, and lifting them up. So
That's great. I always find this question hard because it's like, how do you limit? I'm a big emoji person, so it's like, how do you limit it to 3?
yeah.
Because there's so many great emojis out there that you can use a day in and day out. Well, listen, Winnie, this has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I look forward to having you on the show again.
Thanks for inviting me, Anna. It's been fun.
Thank you for listening to the Pass the Pitch podcast with Anna Frazzetto. Don't forget to subscribe and share. In the next episode, we talk to Thomas Erb on career agents, relationship builders, and scaling with AI. See you then.